USA.
Thank you for joining me for another amazing session of the Daily African Proverbs. I hope you had a nice weekend. We are live streaming on YouTube, and we are also live streaming here on Clubhouse. I do this session every single morning with the hopes that, with each African proverb that we discuss and dissect, we gain some African wisdom, and we just have an opportunity to connect with each other in a more deeper and meaningful way before we get into our day. And this session is also being recorded for the African Father in America podcast. And I would love to invite you on stage, Dana and my brother Joseph and Kalema. I want to bring you on stage here. This is going to be a beautiful conversation. We have a proverb from Uganda that we are about to, learn a lot more about. And the proverb says, water that has been begged for does not quench the thirst. Water that has been begged for does not quench the thirst. When you hear this proverb, what comes to your mind? I want you to think about that. And I also want you to tap my profile, and you'll be able to get to my Instagram page where I have published this proverb. You'll be able to see the image that is related to it. And also, you can join me on Twitter. I will be retweeting the conversations, parts of the nuggets of wisdom that I am going to be grabbing from our conversation today. My YouTube and Instagram handle are at Okelo Javan. So those are the simplest ways for you to stay engaged with this conversation as we continue. And also, if you're on Clubhouse, I want to encourage you to ping in 5 to 7 people into the room, especially now at the beginning, so that we can grow the village. This is the village, and the village is not a village without its people, right? So if you have a friend that you think is going to benefit by listening to our conversation today, I encourage you to ping them now, but also feel free to ping in people as the conversation continues. This proverb is being discussed here in the Daily African Proverbs, not for the first time. We discussed this earlier, around February this year. And the Daily African Proverbs began in January here on Clubhouse. I joined Clubhouse on January 1st. And, before that, I grew up with proverbs. I grew up with my mother, educating me on different situations using African proverbs. And around 2 years ago, I began sharing proverbs on social media, taking videos, sharing them on social media, and just getting to engage with people. But when Clubhouse came about, it began feeling like a village, because we could literally gather the way we used to. Especially in Africa, in Kenya, where I come from, we used to gather after dinners. We would gather and just talk, share stories. But a lot of these stories were dominated by proverbs. So I want to listen to what you have to say about this proverb from Uganda. I'm going to pin it at the top of the room in just a second. I'm going to pin it in just a second here. But for me, when I look at this proverb, first of all, the picture of someone who has been begging for water for a long time, and they finally get the cup of water. That's the picture that immediately came to my mind when I read this proverb that we are discussing today. And that picture came to my mind because I have lived in a situation where water was like a luxury. People who had clean water were like people who had a little bit more money. I grew up in a situation where even to shower on a day-to-day basis was a challenge sometime. And many people in Seattle, for example, where I live, do not even have the concept that you can live in a place where you don't have access to drinking water or water for you to use for showering. They can't imagine that, you know. And so for me, when I look at this proverb, it also means, you know, as a parent or as a leader or as someone with some form of authority or privilege, how are you using your authority? How are you using your privilege? Are you using it to inspire other people and to lift up people, or are you using it to oppress people and sit on people's heads? You know, African proverbs are meant to challenge us. They are meant to make us scratch our heads. They are meant to make us apply the wisdom we gain from them in different situations in our lives. So for me, when I look at this, those are some of the things that come to my mind. And I know that when I'm aware of a proverb like this, and I'm faced with a situation where I know I'm dealing with someone that I have more ideas and more resources and more access than they do, my job is to give them, you know, open the door for them, teach them what I know, you know, and do things in a way that agrees with this proverb, that it's true that water that has been begged for does not quench the thirst. So I want to first welcome Kalema, who is in Uganda, where this proverb comes from. Kalema, share with us how you're doing today, and also share with us your interpretation of this proverb. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Simon. Guys, hi everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. I'm by the names of Kalema Hasra from Uganda, a travel guide and a tour operator. So, Simon, how have you been? Uganda. In Uganda, I'm really nice. I'm really fine. It's really hot. It's getting to that hot bit. So we're really fine. So this is how I interpret this proverb. Like water that has been begged for does not waste thirst. Do you know what that means? It means that when you have a desire for something, when you have an urge for something, and then someone decides to help you full-handedly. Let's say if you want to borrow money, let's say if you have a project you're working on and you need full support, if someone gets to give you a full hand of like all the ransom that you want to use for that project, you won't know, it won't really give you that satisfaction that yes, I did this on my own and all that. So I believe it's a proverb which tells us to work hard for what we want, so that if someone is going to help you, they just it's just like they're just adding on what you have. So that's my interpretation of water that is being begged for does not quench thirsty. And this takes back, it's like this proverb teaches us a lot, like in life. Like if you want to be somewhere, if you want to go ahead of something, if you want to be your best and you want to do your best, try to always, try to always pull yourself up so that you put yourself in a position where someone can help you, but don't beg to be helped for everything. And I think this proverb is really, really amazing to our folks in, actually, I'm really very glad that it came from Uganda, because in Uganda, some people, not all, they tend to beg a lot. So, but you don't need to be a beggar all the time, because things that you beg for don't really give that real satisfaction like things you've worked for. So, Simon, that is my interpretation of the proverb today. And thank you so much for welcoming me on stage. Once again, I'm Kalema Asfa from Uganda. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kalema. You showered us with nuggets of wisdom, and I just loved how you shared, especially that uh, what 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 you work hard for, uh, and once you have control to how much work you're putting into your passion or your work, whatever other people help you to add to that is just a bonus. That was a really beautiful um, you know nugget of wisdom. And especially, when you think about this proverb and you think about Uganda or even Kenya, where we do have a culture of begging. Even our politicians beg, even when we can come up with our own solutions, you find that many of our politicians prefer donor funding or loans that they end up not servicing adequately, and then they end up auctioning the country. For example, in Uganda, last week there was an article on all major publications that was speaking to the fact that Entebbe, the main airport in Uganda, was actually could be taken by China because it was put up as security for a loan that Uganda acquired. So this proverb is very, very relevant. Thank you so much, Kalema. Dr. No Days Off. Kalema, go ahead. I think you have something else to add. Go ahead.
No, I was just clapping for what you really made as a remark. That's
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. And I just want to welcome everyone in the room. Kami, thank you for being here. Koni, Kiza, Abdallah, Gianna, Roger, Joseph, thank you all for being here. Feel free to join us on stage. What we are doing is that we have this African proverb at the top of the room that says, water that has been begged for does not quench the thirst. In Africa, we value proverbs, and we in this room we dissect these proverbs every day with the hopes that we can gain wisdom, and we can gain wisdom and just take better control of our energy. If you approach things with a perspective of wisdom, you're paying attention to nature, you're paying attention to the well-being of everything around you. And Proverbs is one way that I have personally learned to always look at things from very many different perspectives, and I feel that that's really important, especially in the world that we are currently living in. So Dr. No Days Off is a very regular attendee of the Daily African Proverbs, and I love seeing him here. Every day after this room, we normally meet for a brief call on Wisdom App, where we just reflect on how this session was. So let us know if you know of Wisdom App, and join us over there. Even today, if you have time. How are you doing, my brother? How was your weekend? And what are your perspectives on this proverb, if possible, in just 2 minutes? Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. No problem. Thank. I'm doing super fantastic, Simon, and my weekend was great. I hope yours was the same, and I hope you're doing well too. This proverb is very profound, very interesting because it says, "Water that's begged for does not quench your thirst," and that's because it goes back to spiritual and biblical days, and spirituality, which of course is an African proverb. But I grew I was always taught, it's better to teach a person how to fish than to give them a fish, right? So in teaching somebody how to fish, you can feed them for a lifetime. But if you just give them a fish, then you only feed them for that moment. You're only satisfying a short-term gratification, and it's one of the most difficult things to teach people in today's world is how to fish for themselves instead of just something being handed to them all the time. And one of the things that that helps with developing people in leadership and developing having a better life, and whether they lead in their life, whether they lead in a company, whether they lead in an organization, or whether they lead in a family, it doesn't matter. But um, when you teach somebody how to fish, it's more gratifying and satisfying, even though there is not instant gratification. right there in the moment, in the teaching aspect of that moment. Um, you know, it happens. You see people begging, and when you beg, in my terminology, when you beg, you're needy, and when you're needy, you're weak. Now, let me break that down real quick. What I mean by you're weak when you're needy. Okay. As human beings, ladies and gentlemen, we need water. We need air, right? We need some kind of substance after a while of not eating anything. We need some kind of substance sooner or later. But the most things that we need is air and water. Ladies and gentlemen, when we don't get air, what happens to our bodies? We become weak. We're needy of air. Because we're needy of air, that's a weakness of humans. That's a weakness of being human. Because we're needy of water, that is a weakness of ours. And once you recognize that as a weakness, then you can understand your strengths and understand why it is important not to be needy, right? And to be and to be taught how to fish, how to lead yourself, how to take care of yourself, right? So that's what this means to me. Yeah, I can give you water all day long, but thirst can be eternal. That can be an eternal issue that you have because you're not learning, or you don't know how to provide to quench your own thirst. And that also plays into setting goals for yourself too, right? When you're setting goals and you're out there and you're out there willing to learn, excuse me, attempting to accomplish something, then just because somebody walks up, hands up to you, and you meet somebody, just, um, don't expect them just to hand stuff to you. Because if they hand it to you, then you didn't earn anything. And if you don't earn it, then you don't have what we call in business, you don't have any skin in the game, right? You don't have a reason to enjoy it, to protect it, to grow it even further because it was given to you. And I always use the example with my kids. If I take my kids to the dollar store here in the United States, right, everything costs $1, right? If I take you to the dollar store and buy a toy for you and you break it, you don't even care because why? That toy only cost $1. But if I went to another store and that toy cost $100, you're going to have more respect for that $100 toy than you will for that dollar toy. Ladies and gentlemen, it works the same way when it comes to this proverb. When you're taught how to fish, when you're taught how to quench your own thirst, you're going to have more respect than if it was given to you. Because if it was given to you, you're not going to respect it. And like my mentor used to always tell us, no one respects anything given to them for free because it's free. It didn't cost them anything, right? And it's a very hard pill to swallow. But if you sit back and you think about it, we've all done it. We've all have misused or disregarded something that was given to us for free because we didn't put any skin in the game. We didn't have any value to that. So that's my interpretation of this proverb. And like I say, it's very deep and it's very profound to me. And I turn the platform back over to you, Simon.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I love how you shared with us that whatever you've not earned, you will not take good enough care of it. And and that's so true. I love how you related it to kids as well, because I'm a father of 3 young girls, and so this one is something that I want to test with them and also see how they respond to it. I want to take them to a dollar store. That's a great idea of an activity I could do with them. So thank you again. I know that we skipped Dana Williams, who is actually the wife of Dr. No Days Off that just spoke. So I'll come back to you, Dana, before we go to Zizi and Wetabawa and then Kizar. But I want to encourage you all who are with us in the audience, please join us on stage so that we can hear your voice and listen to your perspectives on today's proverb. The proverb is from Uganda. It says, "Water that has been begged for does not quench the thirst." And we just learned a little bit from Kalema. We also learned from Dr. No Days Off, and we are continuing to learn. I want to just also remind you all that we are live streaming this conversation on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Simon Javan Okelo. It's pinned at the top of the Clubhouse room, so you can join us over there as well. And this conversation is going to be available in the African Father in America podcast just about an hour after this conversation. So if you miss any part of it, you'll still be able to catch it over there. Thank you again for being here. I would love for you to ping in 1 or 2 people if you're here on Clubhouse with us. And if you are on YouTube, I just want you to leave us with your comment on what this proverb means to you. And also remember to give this video a like. Thank you again. I want to pass it to you, Dana.
So, good morning, everyone, and good morning, Simon. I always feel blessed to have an opportunity to speak on your platform. So, I definitely appreciate that. And water that has been begged for does not quench the thirst. Wow, that means so many things to me. But the one that stands out for me is anything worth having, you got to work for. When you're given something, there is a huge puzzle. There are puzzle pieces that miss from that. When you have to earn something, when you put in the blood, the tears, the sacrifice, the grit, the grind, there is a emotional and a spiritual satisfaction that you get, because a lot of times when you're working for something, it's something that you have not accomplished. So in doing that, you feel fulfilled in a way that you don't when it's given to you. Like Dr. No Days Off said, we do with our kids. And another thing we did with our kids is when they were old enough to work, they got it. Well, before they were old enough to technically work, they did work around the house. They had chores and things like that, because we noticed that unfortunately their generation has an entitlement, meaning they think your money's their money. So when you go grocery shopping and you take them school shopping and they want this outfit and it costs this much, and they looking at you like, well, you got a job, and you're looking at them like, yeah, but there's bills to pay. They don't grasp that concept. So we gave them allowance, and in giving them allowance, they had to do the chore correctly. If you didn't do the chore correctly, then what we did was we docked some of your pay. So we saw that it taught them how to do things correctly. They thirst to do things correctly. It taught them how to spend their money correctly, because $100 of mommy and daddy's money is different than $100 of their money. So the thirst to spend their money wisely started developing. So when we would take them to the same store and we would ask them, okay, so I know you said you wanted this, they'd be like, no, mom, well, if I get this over here, I can get this, that, and this and that. So there is a self-fulfillment, there is knowledge, there is empowerment when you put in the time, the energy, and you gain passion. Dr. No Days Off and myself, we've been entrepreneurs for a long time, and when you go homeless behind it, and when there's more money going out than money coming in, your passion, your dreams, your goals, they are tested. And sometimes when you're just laying on your back looking up, the thirst talks to you. It says, you got this, you can do this, keep going, don't give up. And then when you accomplish that, you are so proud of yourself. You feel empowered. There's an aura that beams from you that attracts people, to you. Then a great thing happens. You want more of it. So when you are given something, all those things do not come to pass. But when you earn it, all those phenomenal things, passion, dedication, appreciation, uh, hunger for more of whatever you've accomplished, it continues to grow. And then you're able to teach others, whether it's your children, your spouse, your family members, other unfortunate people, when they can see that you are an overcomer, that it's okay to go fight for something. It's okay to get dirty and grind and not expect it given to you or it coming easily. That's priceless. And I turn the platform back over to you, Simon.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really, really beautiful. The wisdom you shared with us that, when you inspire people by your actions, by how you face challenges, and also how you shared with us that your passion can help you overcome. When you have more money being invested in your ideas as an entrepreneur or a creative, you're challenged beyond what you expected, and the only thing that keeps you going, this I can relate to very much. The only thing that keeps you going is your why, why you started it, and your that's what drives you, that's what makes you wake up even earlier the next morning. So that was great. Zizi is an elder that I have so much love and respect for, and she contributes immensely to the Daily African Proverbs, and I would love to pass her the microphone. Zizi, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Simon. I'm going to say that I have so much respect for Dr. Node and Donna. Lovely, wise shares. I'm going to take it at a different level, and that might interest you, Simon. In our culture, at least I'm talking for Egyptian men and sometimes women, it's very hard to tell someone, I love you. You almost have to beg for it, for someone to tell you, I love you. Like I'm talking about father, mother, sister, brother.
That's so true of our culture too.
Yeah, it's terrible. So like sometimes I can't believe it. Like my father never kissed me until I was old enough to travel to the States to study. He never told me I love you. I know he did everything because he loves me, but he never said the word. And then I go him and say, do you love me? He says, of course I do. But it doesn't matter. It didn't help me because it wasn't coming from him, from my heart. So I was begging for the word to be said, but men are very different. Even my mother, she does everything for you. And they say, why do you ask me? Can't you see that I love you? I said, no, but I'd like to hear it. That's why, when I grew up, I decided I will tell people that I love them. And I'm happy that you're saying that you can love someone because it's very difficult. And make sure you tell your girls, but before they say that, Dad, you like me or you love me, tell them every day, I love you so much. It's I found this such a healing phrase to say, I love you. I have a guinea pig now, which is my little pet. And it took me 2 hours just to let her become tame and quiet by just telling her, I love you. I love you, Grace. I love you. I love you. And then she immediately tamed, So, my advice to parents and husbands, please tell your wives without their begging that you love them, that you tell them how good they are. And maybe in the morning, oh, you look so great, instead of what's wrong with your hair today, or you know, try and be positive because anything that's begged for will not really reciprocate because they want to hear it from the heart. So that's the way I'm looking at it from this psychological point of view. And I guess that's it. I don't want to say any more, Simon.
You
I
said
love
it.
you, Simon.
Yeah, you said it. I love you too. I love you too. It's definitely, for me, saying I love you is such an important word. It's such a commitment, and I have learned to say it a lot. Because I spend a lot of time with my daughters. I'm a full-time father. And I never grew up with saying I love. Even now in my interactions with my siblings, it's only the youngest that I tell I love you a lot, but the older ones, the word I love you comes in critical moments. In critical moments. And I would say I also feel that I am,
You're almost shy to say it,
yeah. Yeah, and also I feel like I cry the most in our family. I remember when we lost our mom last year. I just felt that I could not control how much I was crying, and I realized that, you know, people are strong in our family. People could control their tears, you know, and I realized that for me, you know, losing my mom taught me that I have to just be myself, and I have to be how I feel, and it's tough. It's tough to be like that in a space where people are learning, and uh, people are unlearning something that they were taught from a very young age, you know, to be tough, you know. I even remember being told by one of my siblings, you know, during this time of mom's funeral, if you become too emotional, you might lose focus on other things, you know. So you have to really watch how emotional you are in this during this period, you know.
Yeah,
and
I know.
and
They can't understand it.
yeah, but it felt liberating to just be able to shed the tears. I felt like after that, I just felt like I'm happy I did it, you know. I'm happy I did it, and it's always very hard for me to be in such a situation. Anyway, thank you for taking us there, Zizi. You're truly appreciated, and I just want to, you know, welcome you, Wetabawa, to the room. I know you're joining us for the first time. Thank you for being here. And I want to welcome my brother and my friend, you know, and an amazing creator on this app, Leo Rising. Leo has also been supportive of this space. I just saw you retweet a moment ago. And also, you know, you used to support us over the months, and I'm just happy that you're here. Leila, thank you for being here, and Julia, and, you know, Roger, and you know, Tioma, everybody in the room. I truly appreciate you. Please remember, you can click the link at the top of the room and join me on YouTube. I'm live streaming this conversation as we speak, so you can see my face, and you can also engage with me over there. I am grateful, and I want to encourage you to do one last thing for me. I want you to follow the African Father in America Club here on Clubhouse, so that when we host these rooms every day, you can also be notified. But also, I want you to nominate people that should be able to engage in this conversation every day. Thank you so much, and let's hear from you, Wetabawa.
Asante sana, Simon Okelo. Thanks everyone. I'm grateful to be here. It's my first time in the club, and my name is Venex Watebawa from Uganda. I run a tour travel company, Renzori Safaris, and I come from the mountains of the moon. The proverb, um, eh, Ngudeyo. Are we there?
Yes. We hear you very well.
Yes.
Keep going.
Yeah, the
And you can.
technology is eating up with me.
Oh, no
Yeah.
problem. Take your time.
The proverb. First of all, the proverb is actually touches me so much because in the local dialect, it really gives a lot of meaning. It gives you the opportunity to appreciate what you do yourself, what you've gotten from your sweat, and it discourages the begging syndrome. When you do something, you will really do it with one heart. It is very hard to even spoil it. It is very hard for you to just give it away. But we've seen where we get donations, or someone has sent you like $3 that you never sweated for. You will just spend it like there's no tomorrow. But something that you've worked for, you remember what you have gone through to achieve that, and the attachment that you have with that whole stuff that you have worked for gives you an appreciation and also the opportunity to protect it. And so, like, it's about hard work, it's about working for yourself, it's about your independence, it's about really appreciating what you do for your living, and you can always have a reference. For example, when you do something and you're an accomplished, you really always refer to that. You'll even have an appreciation of that thing that you have attained. And so I think for me, it talks a lot to so many people wherever they are, to be hardworking, to really not depend on donations and transfers. So that's my little interpretation of the proverb. But in the local dialect, it means, I think, a lot more than that.
Okay,
I
wait
thank you,
about.
Simon.
Before you go, could you share
Yeah.
with us this proverb in the local dialect if you speak it? And also, are you calling in from Uganda at the moment?
For example, it means that, should I speak it directly in the local dialect?
Yes, please.
Byotafumbye tebiwooma ng'ebyo bye wafumbye. Like what you've not prepared does not taste like that what you've not prepared, because always you'll never have enough of it. So when you prepare something, you will always know how much you can consume, how much you can, but you will not keep bothering someone who has just helped you to get something to quench your thirst.
Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. Kalema, and by the way, Wetabawa, I want to invite you to a session that we host every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's called the three hidden travel gems in Africa. And Kalema and Joseph co-host that session with me, where we share, amazing travel destinations in Africa, and we also share some of the travel trips that we organize. So I would love for you to join that, because I see that you're in the travel industry in Uganda.
I'd be very grateful, because I started the tourism out of passion, having been a travel reporter, journalist for about 15 years. So I would be great to be part of that great team.
Excellent. So I'll let Kalema follow up with you. I'll connect with her, and then we'll see how to add you to our weekly sessions. Thank you again for being here. I'm just going to put you on mute for a moment while I go to Jermaine. Jermaine has also been a great. Oh well, I think Kalema had something to say in response to everything you just shared with us. Kalema, carry on, please. I want to just give you space before we go to Jermaine, because we are on a virtual trip to Uganda, and you're both, Ugandans, and I just want to give you more space.
Yeah, just like Venex just mentioned, actually, he's part of my journey for this tourism thing that I'm in. Though me, I niched down to ladies and families, but he's been so supportive. And when I got to know more,
I lost Kalema. She might have taken herself out of the room. She will be back, or she just has network issues. She will be back in a moment. I want to welcome you all to the Daily African Proverbs. Here is Kalema. Kalema, carry on.
yeah, everyone almost asks about what's happening down in Uganda with the COVID. What's on ground? They're doing massive vaccination, and the country is open for travels. There's no quarantine, and like I said, and like I always say, we're having trips coming around, and since it's the festive season for guys who want to come to East Africa, especially Uganda, tirelessly without spending so much of your dollars. You can come for a free day, 3-day gorilla tracking, which is only 1,600 USDs. And that will be happening between December and January, end of January. And also what's happening down here, we are in our sun season, so the sun is really high, and this is the best time to go visit the animals, to see the gorillas, to see the big five and all that. What's also happening down here is that the country is preparing to open up in January. So the economy is opening up in January, and we are really grateful and hopeful. We're looking forward to see next year as one of the best years that tourism is going to get back on its feet. And for that, if you guys have anything to ask about Uganda, I'm here to answer your questions. And also Venix Watebawa is also around. Thank you so much, Simon.
You're most welcome. Thank you for being here. And now I want to, again, just let everybody who is just joining us know that here in the Daily African Proverbs, we take virtual journeys across Africa. And we do that through these proverbs. And when we share these proverbs, you know, these are not new things. These are proverbs that have been discussed and utilized by our ancestors for many years. And so here we are just here to make our ancestors proud, make them smile, and to also gain African wisdom and apply it in our day-to-day activities. So Jermaine has been a contributor in this space before, and I'm just so happy that you're here. The microphone is yours. Okay, Jermaine, when you can, please unmute and share with us your perspectives. And if you're not near your microphone, I will move on to Bibi, who is also an amazing contributor to the Daily African Proverbs. Bibi just ran a marathon yesterday. I think it was a half marathon this weekend. Share with us just a little bit about that as well. But importantly, share with us your perspective, your interpretation of today's proverb from Uganda. Thank you, Bibi.
Thank you, Simon. Yes, I did run the half marathon on Saturday, and as always, I goal myself to run a bit slower, but I actually exceeded my goal this time as well because I wanted to run again for 3 hours and 30 minutes, but I ended up running it in 3 hours and 15 minutes. So it's 3 minutes, did two, but still, it was great. It was me. This race was 7-mile mark. My daughters came running to me, and it was really beautiful. And my husband captured it. So it's like I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best feeling ever. It's like they were to see me run that they came and joined me and just ran, let them go. So show to me. And as far as the proverb go, I think yes, you did for interpretation is different from what I have today. Interpretation
Yeah, Bibi is having network challenges at the moment. This is Simon speaking. Bibi, I can't hear you anymore.
a daughter from
Bibi, you're coming in and out, and what you're sharing is really valuable. I would love to, create more space for you to share. I wonder if you could move to a place with a stronger connection, and then I'll give you a chance to just start over because we've missed quite a bit of what you've shared with us. So just let me know if you're in a better place, and if you're not, I just want to check in with Jermaine for a moment. Jermaine, are you there? Double tap your mic if you're there, Jermaine. Okay, we'll go all the way to Aral so that Aral can share with us his thoughts on this proverb from Uganda. Aral, just in a minute or so, share with us your interpretation of today's proverb from Uganda. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the platform. The proverb, the daily proverb, I didn't necessarily catch it. Simon's, I do apologize. I didn't necessarily catch it. If you mind repeating.
Yeah, no problem, Aral. It says, water that has been begged for does not quench the thirst.
Wow, that's incredible. Because it brings me to the thought process of why I wanted to introduce myself and speak with you guys here. My thoughts on that is that proverb is Liberia's bicentennial, because I'm a African American born in America, and now I'm currently living in West Africa, Liberia, and I've been here since for 4 years, almost 4 years now. January 15th will be 4 years, and just to know that Liberia was founded by ex-slaves in the 1800s goes well with this proverb, because what a person would want. I can't say it, I can't regurgitate exactly how you said it, but it's like the sentiments is for me, it feels the same, because Liberia was founded by African Americans and ex-slaves in the 1800s, and now they're going through their bicentennial, 200 years of their sovereignty, what have you, and no one really know about it, and no, African Americans don't necessarily know it to celebrate it, but you do have the diaspora from Liberia that knows about it, that's coming here. So it's like, trying to get that thirst quenched, and and wanting something for so long, and it's right there in front of you, and you don't know to have it to quench your thirst, is just incredible. Because to know that you have a country that's yours on a continent of Africa that was founded in 1822 is just incredible to me. So that's all I have to say, when it comes to the proverb. But it just is incredible how it goes inside with wanting to speak today. So I really do appreciate that, Simon.
Oh, you're most welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And I love Liberia too. I've worked there for a number of years myself. So hopefully one day we will talk more about that. Thank you for being here. Now, I just want to check one more time with Jermaine and then Bibi before we carry on to Leila. Leila, thank you so much for being here. And Tioma, thank you so much for being here and being patient. I see that Bibi is ready to share with us her thoughts. Bibi, the mic is yours. And just start from the beginning, please.
Thank you. Yes, I was saying earlier that I ran the half marathon Saturday, and my goal was to run it in 3 hours and 30 minutes, but I ended up running it in 3 hours and 15 minutes. So I shaved 15 minutes off of my goal, and it was really awesome. And I was saying that the best part was when my two girls joined me at the I believe it was 7 or 8 mile mark, and they just kept running, and it was so excited, hugging me, and my husband captured that. It was really sweet, and I was very happy to see them, and to see them full of joy and just enjoying that. That felt really amazing. And as far as the today's proverbs, my meaning today will be different, and I'm gonna share out of my own perspective, my personal opinion. Well, I remember when I first got married, I tried to meet with my husband's ex-wife so we could maybe, I don't know what I was thinking, but maybe that was the African in me trying to be a family with her, because she has a 20-year-old daughter with my husband, and I was trying to get to know her, like, because her daughter was staying here with me during the summers, and just trying to get to know her, just have a cordial relationship, and maybe be a family, like blended family. But she did not want anything to do with me. Even after my daughters were born, still, she didn't want anything to do with me at all. And then this year, I think it was like last month, she extended her friendship to me, but I declined it. And this time it wasn't like in person or on the phone. She decided to send me a friend request on Facebook, but I had a feeling that just didn't sit right with me, so I declined it. And the reason was I say that is because sometimes when you beg for water, and you don't know what's been put in the water, you may end up drinking a tainted water. So always be be aware, because you never know what other people's intentions are. So don't beg for water. Ask once, and if they don't want it, just move on, and maybe you'll find better, cleaner water somewhere else. And that's just my interpretation, because that friendship that was offered later on, it was not a friendship at all, and my gut feeling was right about it. So it just wasn't a clean water. It was tainted. So don't beg for water. Ask. If the answer is no the first time, don't ask again. Just move on to the next. All right. And with that, thank you so much.
Wow, I agree with that a lot. You learned it the hard way, and you had to open your heart and feel heartbroken, and then realize that, oh, I need to protect my heart. So it was just a wonderful story and nugget of wisdom that you shared with us, Bibi. Now I want to check with Jermaine one more time. Jermaine, are you there? I just want to make sure I don't skip you and forget about you totally. Now, Jermaine is not there. We'll go to the amazing Leila Yusuf. Leila, please share with us your perspectives on this proverb from Uganda. The proverb says, water that has been begged for does not quench the thirst.
Habari yenu ya asubuhi wajamaini wa Kenya na wa America and Uganda. Good morning, all my fellow Americans, and anywhere else in Europe you are. Thank you so much, Simon. I would actually congratulations, Bibi, for running half a marathon in 3 hours. That's awesome. You have to come to New York one day. We celebrate a morning run for waking up to New Year's Eve. New Year's Day. So it's like December 31st, and we go for a half a marathon around the Central Park. You start at like 11 or 10. And then we celebrate the New Year's at midnight. So it's really fun. And I wanted to piggyback on what you had said with this proverb. I went to school in Uganda in Malabar, but I want to just try to think. I'm thinking more the proverb again. It's like you cannot bring a horse to the water and force it. I think just say that on Friday. But to me, this proverb is, and picking back in with Bibi, what she said was, I cannot to Whole Food I cannot go to the hardware store looking for oranges. They don't have oranges at the hardware store. It's like repeating the same thing over and over and over. It's like insanity. I have to go to Whole Food. They will have oranges, and I'll have to go to the hardware store to look for nails. You know, and also the idea of go where it's warm and where you're needed. You know, yeah. And I also, someone you had said something virtual, and I jumped in, and I wanted to extend my connection to Wambambi and Kalima, who are in Uganda doing safari. I am bringing the real estate virtual tour of Madavas with Oculus, and I would love to take people in safari tours in the American living room. So let's talk. I'm meeting with people who know so much about Oculus and virtual real estate. Maybe there's a way to create financial tours for you guys when people don't have to fly to Uganda. And I will also see you in Mungo Kisema in July and August. I'll be in Nairobi and Uganda in Webuye. So thank you so much. I'm done speaking, and I'm going to reach out to you on the back end.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much, Leila. I can't wait to see how this one grows from here. We have to tour some of these places virtually because, especially in this time of the pandemic, you really want to be somewhere, but you can only be there, virtually. There's no other way. So thank you, Tioma. Welcome to the Daily African Proverbs. I would love to hear your perspectives on this proverb. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm always happy when I see this room, and I have to join really so that I never miss it. I just did. Yes. So I think it is really a reflection of the greatness of African wisdom that everybody has come on with a slightly different interpretation, a little bit, and sometimes it's almost diametrically opposed. But from their perspective, they see the truth of it and they bring the truth to this room. So we've had people that say, well, if something is given to you, you don't get the beauty of working for it, the power and the reward of having learned how to get this thing on your own. So it is not going to quench your thirst then for knowledge and wisdom and um, autonomy and all these things that we get when we do it on our own. So there's that. But then people have also said, well, if you have to beg someone to be your friend, if you have to beg somebody for the water of love or the water, there's another thing, the water is on so many levels, it's love, it's freedom, it means so many things. Then, that water is tainted when they finally give it to you, or you might have to refuse it because they're not giving it with a loving heart. Having said that, I do believe that people grow. Sometimes people do grow, but a lot of times the leopard doesn't change his spots. You have to know what the situation is and act accordingly. But there's a third way too, where you say, give a man, the proverb, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime. Hey, if somebody actually has to give you what you need, and that is more in alignment with that first interpretation, somebody has to give you what you need, it's better for you to learn from them how to supply your own needs and then be able to do that for self and for community. So it's such a powerful proverb. My first interpretation was if I have to beg for it, giving it with an open heart, it's not really going to quench my thirst. But now hearing everybody else, that's why it's good to talk in, community and to see the power of, everybody's different perspective and everybody's different wisdom in terms of interpreting this. Thank you so much for this proverb. I love it. And I pass the mic.
Hello, Simon.
Hey, Jermaine, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And Tioma, that was beautiful. I'm just so grateful you're here. I followed you and I would love to see you join us more often. It's wonderful to have you. Jermaine, share with us your perspectives. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I wanted to allow my aunt and friend to go ahead and to, hear her perspective, from a Jamaican point of view. So, Taima, how are you?
I am well, thank you. Yeah, it was you. I saw you were on here, so it must be a good room. But I have been on the room before. It is a wonderful room.
Yeah, Simon is someone that I think he's a real man. When I just came in the room, he was talking about his 3 daughters, and I keep big him up on that. He teaches them everything, and sometimes the proverbs are so connected to his own, action as a father. And even with these proverbs, I'm sure there are areas where it can be applied to, raising and growing children, because we can teach them not to beg. And that is something that I'm sure as Jamaicans we teach our children: do not beg. We don't want them to develop a spirit of begging. So we said, don't beg. If they go on the street in the supermarket and they will see sweets, and then, it's not a quality that we want to develop in our minds. If it's children or adults, I believe begging, should be something that we try not to do any at all. Because as a community, we should look and see each other needs and try to fill the needs before it get to the point where someone have to go and beg for it. And we know that a society way of treating its elders and children and disabled is a society where people have a nurturing heart and spirit, and that used to be part of the African community. Is a critical part of caring for our children, so we don't have to get to that state where begging is necessary. And the proverbs just illustrating that water that you beg does not really quench your thirst.
because the act of begging, is really not a position that you want to be in. So it is like a bitter water because you get into this state, either a socioeconomic state or unfortunate event that get you to the position where you're now begging, and within yourself that you don't want to do that. So in my mind, you know, we really want to labor and then have the reward of our labor, of our sweat equity. And in Jamaica, there's a lot of laborers. If we're uneducated and we do not, can't see a way how we sell our labor, we go and do domestic work, go to the farm and and put that sweat labor into the ground, and then we have food, and then we can use that food to sell, to earn. So that what proud fathers do rather than having their children going out and beg. Because I think deep down, as a people, we are proud and we understand that begging is not the way, is not the order of the kings and the king's children. So really and truly, I think I agree with the Proverbs and its general. What most sentiments shared by most of the speakers is that it's not a position to be in, and that, getting water through begging does not truly quench one thirst. And now just end there. Thanks again, Simon.
Oh, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. And, to hear you and Chioma, speak just makes me feel great. I don't know if you all know, but I was a reggae DJ for over 7 years. So I played a lot of reggae music and listened to a lot of, Jamaican patois, and also built a lot of lasting relationships with reggae artists and just a number of people from Jamaica. So Jamaica is like home. I will be there one day. Now, Jay, thank you for being here, and thank you for all your contributions to the Daily African Proverbs throughout this year. I hope you're doing well. Share with us your perspectives on today's proverb from Uganda. The proverb says, water that has been begged for does not quench the thirst. And just before you share, I want to invite everyone who is in the room to join me on YouTube. I am live streaming this conversation, and we're also recording it for the African Father in America podcast. So it will be available after today's conversation. Jay, the mic is yours.
Thank you, dear brother. It's always an honor when I have an opportunity to be in this room. And Tioma, you beat me to the punch. I certainly was going to say the same thing about feeding a man versus teaching a man to fish. I was going in that route as well. But then I thought, okay, let me pivot that asking for a handout. There's a difference between asking for a handout versus asking for a hand to pull you out of your situation, to pull you out of your condition, to put you in a position where you can do better for yourself. And so that begging, it puts you in a position where it can reduce your self-esteem, and it reduces your sense of self-worth and your value. You don't have the drive anymore to persevere and to be motivated when you're constantly begging. So you're constantly in need, and you're never completely fulfilled. And there's something really fulfilling when you are no longer in that predicament, in that situation, no matter what it entails, what it involves in your life, whether it's business, whether it's friendship, whether it's love, whether it's food, whatever, if you know you can manage yourself, take care of yourself, handle a certain situation yourself, you have a tremendous amount of self respect for yourself. Others respect you, and that, as always, gives you a sense of pride, and your family can look up to you, and you are an example of what it can be for someone who's accomplished and can give someone else that that determination to not be a beggar, but to be in a position where you can be a giver and to help someone to learn how to fish for themselves. This is Jay, and I'm finished speaking. Thank you so much. Blessings to everyone.
Thank you very much, Jay, for your words of wisdom. And it's true that begging depletes you of your dignity and your self-esteem. And the more you learn and you're independent and you're able to fend for yourself, inspire others, and give to those who do not have as much as you do, then you're not only making life better for you but for everybody else around you. So I felt that was a perfect way to get to the end of our conversation today. I would love for you to check out this same proverb that is my latest post on my Instagram account. If you're on Instagram, I would love to see a comment there. And my Instagram handle is also the same to my Twitter handle. It's at Okello Javan. I would love to see your comments there, whether it's on Twitter. I want to see your retweets there. And then I want you to check out my YouTube channel, Simon Javan Okello, where we are live streaming this conversation at the moment. And we are able to take this conversation further, to many of us who are not able to be in this room at the moment. And then I finally have a shop on my website. My website is simonjavanokello.com, and I am personally, the gifts people are giving me for this holiday season, I'm just sending them there to buy One Vibe Africa merchandise that are really, really cool. We have new stuff that we just put up there, and we are going to be bringing different merchandise for the daily African proverbs as well. So just stay tuned. And if you're interested in being a part of creating some of these, picking some of these proverbs and creating amazing stuff with them, let me know. But currently, NCAM, who has been another contributor to this space, is helping me with all of that. I'm grateful, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow for another session of the Daily African Proverbs. Again, we'll be right here in the African Father in America Club. If you're not following the club yet, this is a good opportunity for you to do that. And also, if you haven't connected with someone else in the room, this is a beautiful moment for you to do that. Look around you, look at people's profiles, and just follow someone as we end our session today. Thank you so much. Peace and love.
African Father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African Father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle.